All right, we'll go ahead and get started now. Thank you so much for joining us tonight to take a look at Saving for a College Education that's brought to you by FinPath University. I will be your host for this evening along with Jeanette Tapia. Jeanette is, like me, also a financial coach with FinPath and TCG. And just a few quick housekeeping items as we get started here. Just know that we definitely are going to make some time to get to questions at the end of this. So please be patient with us. If you have questions along the way, jot those down. We'll provide a time and space for you to be able to do that. And if you would like to go ahead and utilize your phones to scan this QR code, these QR codes will go directly to each of our calendars so that you can get some advantage and take advantage of the one-on-one coaching opportunities that you have available to you. So just know that this presentation is being recorded. If I switch slides or something like that before you're able to utilize a link or a barcode, just don't worry and know that we are going to make these recordings available to everybody, as well as putting this in FinPath University. So anybody who wants to can go ahead and go back and watch this later. So today we'll go ahead and dive in. We're going to be talking about saving and funding for a college retirement or a college education, and going to be talking about kind of the various plans and resources that are available out there as you start looking at what that might look like. So 529 plans. So this is one of the main plans that we see out there that is designed to save for a college education. The way these work is there are no max limit on annual contributions. Now, if you're high net worth and you're going to super fund something like this, then yes, there would be a max, but the total account value cannot exceed $500,000, and so that's not going to apply to most people. And so just know that there is no max limit on those annual contributions as long as the total account value does not exceed $500,000. One of the nice things about 529 plans is that there's no income restrictions, and that the contributions are tax deferred. So growth doesn't get reported. When it comes to how the money is utilized, this does come out tax-free as long as it's for qualified educational expenses under the 529. So anything like tuition fees, books, and things like that, you're going to have access to the money tax-free. One of the unique features about a 529 that is somewhat new and that is not common in a lot of the other plans out there is that it actually does now allow for you to use up to or save up to $10,000 a year for private K through 12. So in the flexibility of a 529 plan, not only are you able to utilize that for college savings, but you can now use that for K through 12 expenses as well. There are a lot of portfolio options that are based on your risk tolerance. And that's designed to have your money and contributions grow over time. The account owners will maintain control of the account throughout the life of the plan. And what's kind of nice about that is because of that, you will remain in control of how that money gets utilized. You can transfer that to another beneficiary as well. So say in the hypothetical situation that you've put this money away for somebody's education and they decide not to go to college, you can change the beneficiary on that and still use those funds for somebody else. And at the same time, when the when the beneficiary of this account is applying for financial aid in college, no more than 5.64% of that account value is going to get considered when looking at the expected family contributions. And that's going to be a key thing in their ability to qualify for financial aid. So and you'll see when we start comparing this with other plans, that's not always the case on all these other plans. Now, one of the other common ways of saving for college is the Coverdell. The kind of same thing as the 529, the earnings and growth on this are going to be tax-free, as well as the withdrawals, as long as it is for qualified expenses. But from there on is where you start to see a lot of difference between the Coverdell and a 529. There is a limit on the contributions. The max is $2,000 a year per child. Also, there are some income limits here. So with anybody who is filing as single on their income tax return, anything over $110,000, then the Coverdell is not an option for you. And then same thing for joint filing over $220,000. Also, there are some other regulations around how these work. And so the account has to be utilized by the time that beneficiary reaches age 30. It's really all got to be distributed by then. And financial aid eligibility really can be affected because once the beneficiary turns 18, they are in control of the account. You're no longer the custodian over that money. So just a few things to be aware of. As far as where you would open a Coverdell or a 529, banks, credit unions, brokerage firms, and investment advisors would be the places to look for that. And just know that things that you're going to want to ask about when you're looking at these kinds of options, you want to be looking out for the fees and what investment options are involved in anything like that. Your financial advisor can walk you through all of those kinds of things. Just know that there are a lot of things to consider when comparing these. So you really want to understand how each of these work. Now, another one of the ways that we've seen traditional funding for college be done is through UGMA or UTMA accounts. That's Uniform Gift to Minors Act or Uniform Trust to Minors accounts. Again, like the 529 plan, something nice about this is that there's no max limits on the contributions and there's no income restrictions like you would have with the Coverdell. But then there are some big differences that start to happen from there. With these accounts, it's tax advantage because it's not going to be considered as the donor's gross estate unless they're remaining as a custodian. But one of the things that make this very unique in comparison to the Coverdell or the 529 plans is you cannot change the beneficiary on these. The contributions into one of these kinds of plans represents an irrevocable gift to the beneficiary. So just know that this is their money, and that is not going to be changed under any circumstance going down this option. And the way that works is that depending on state law, the custodianship will terminate at either 18 or 21. So what that really means is that when the child that this money was set aside for reaches 18 or 21, depending on state law, it's their money. And so it does not have to be utilized for college. They really have full control over that. So in the business of financial advising, I've at times heard this kind of jokingly referred to as college or a motorcycle. So once that child has control over that, just know that it's really their choice on whether or not they're going to use that money for college. There are some alternate sources that sometimes people have questions about, or that get thrown into the mix of the conversation of setting money aside for college. So we'll touch on a few of those real quick. I have seen at times, and not too uncommonly actually, that people will ask about life insurance that builds up a cash value and utilizing that cash value to cover college expenses. True that a whole life insurance policy can accrue a cash value over time. Term absolutely doesn't, but whole life will accumulate a cash value, and that cash value does come out tax-free. I think the things that you got to be really watching here and aware of is you want to get a lot of transparency on the fees of that particular policy, because they can be sometimes, depending on the carrier, those can come with pretty high fees at times, and you definitely want to know what you're spending to have that. And then also, you just really want to understand the potential tax implications if a policy lapses. And where that really is going to matter is whenever you pull the cash value out of a life insurance policy, it does come out tax-free as long as that policy stays in force. Now, where it can become a problem is if you've pulled cash value out of that and have not paid that back and the policy lapses, then that money becomes taxable as income. So you just really want to understand how that works and the implications behind that. And if you are planning to utilize the cash value in a life insurance policy, whether this is for funding education or anything else, just understand the fine print around how that money is treated from a tax standpoint, given the various scenarios that could play out, such as having the policy lapse. Another option that exists is, you can have family members or other people that might want to make a gift to the child and help pay for their education. There are options for that as well. Jeanette, I saw you come off mute. Did you have a question on that?
Yes. Can you give us an example of like maybe what gifting would be? Would it be something like a inheritance from grandparents, or money that, it's stashed somewhere and then the grandparents decide, hey, I want my grandson to keep this money for college?
Yeah, no, thank you for the question, Jeanette. Absolutely. So that would be a perfect example, is like if you had grandparents, right, who wanted to give you that inheritance early. Plans such as the 529 or the Coverdell will allow for gift contributions from a grandparent or somebody like that, other than the person who opened the account. So yeah, that's definitely a great example of that. And just know that those options are out there. We've all seen GoFundMe accounts for various reasons. You see that a little bit more commonly when something tragic occurs, but just know that, yeah, if you can get somebody to donate to a GoFundMe, that can be used for college expenses as well. There's probably not going to be the tax shelters and special tax treatment and things like that you're going to get with a more traditionally defined college savings plan. But also, once in a while, I don't see this one as much, but I do get questions once in a while of whether or not somebody can pull money from their retirement fund to cover college expenses. I would say that, just know that it's not advisable. Really, from a advising standpoint, we really try to separate retirement funds and say that that's for retirement. But just know that if you do decide to do that, that wouldn't be a qualified reason to take a loan from your retirement account if it's a qualified account. So just know that if you ever do decide to do that, there's not only taxes, but there would be the IRS penalty of an additional 10% on top of the taxes. I'm going to hand it over now to Jeanette. She's going to walk us through a lot of the resources and scholarships. And I really like that Jeanette is taking us through this part of it, because she's got some really good personal experience that hopefully brings a lot of value and to the conversation. Jeanette?
Thank you, Aaron. And thank you everyone for joining us back in on this rescheduling of this session. And we really appreciate y'all showing up. Thanks for answering that question as well, Aaron. So a little bit about this and some research I've been doing about college, funding college. I want to put myself as an example. I was a Texas Scholar when I was in high school, and this program still exists in several campuses across Texas. It's important that you get your kids to ask those questions. When you don't ask, you don't have an answer. And I knew being the first one in my family to graduate from college, this definitely helped me fund my education when I went to Sam Houston State. It's through high school, grades 9 to 12. You have to maintain a 2.75 grade point average GPA. And like you can see, it's just an average student. I was an average student. I wasn't super smart as I wasn't. I just try to stay where I needed to be to get that scholarship that eventually helped me fund my 5 years at Sam Houston. It definitely helps that, you have a good relationship with your teachers while you're in high school. They're the ones that are going to be able to help you get that recommendation letter to get in this program. And submit your information. The earlier, the better. Usually I have a deadline of April. And this is like something that, you want to be aware that what do you need to do? So you want to be your school counselor's best friend as much as you can, and have that good relationship with your teacher so they can help you throughout this program. Other resources that I've found that it's useful is that nowadays a lot of high schools are doing college dual credits, which means that you're in high school and you're at a higher level of like AP classes, advanced placement classes, and these are going to help you and be prepared to when you come to the college level education. This is the best way to also not only you're earning your high school credits, but you can also earn college credits and pretty much be done with your basics once you graduate from high school and go into your directly to your career 2-year college or university. It also takes that you have to have 2 teachers or coach to sponsor you. So like I said, having those good relationship with your teachers, building that bond with those teachers, it's essential, throughout your high school years. That helped me a lot, like I mentioned. This definitely would also ease the cost of buying college textbooks, that some of them, remembering back when I was in school, it was like a $600 biology book, and you try to sell it at the end of the semester, and hey, you couldn't sell it but like for $100. So these are little things that you want to keep in mind. And as a parent, you want to let your kids know, ask those questions, get involved as much as you can. That turns me to the next topic about Upper Bound. This is a program that also exists across It's a nationwide program. It's a tutoring, counseling, and mentoring program in high school. This program, I was also involved. This program opened the doors for me to look at different campuses outside the area where I lived. I'm from Houston and lived here most of my young life. And when I was in high school, I didn't know anything else, but just when my surrounding was, when I got involved with Upper Bound, I was able to see that, you know, hey, they took us to Austin and we saw UT, we visited the whole campus, we went to San Antonio, we visited a couple of campuses there, but you know, now they've even branched out to out of state campuses. So definitely it's a great program. If you're first generation, you definitely helps a lot as well to get in this program. And it's a community service event establishment, not like where you can get involved more just with community service and learning about what else is going on in the college campus atmosphere. And these are great research scholarship websites that I found. A lot of these were found on the Houston ISD page. And like any other district, every local district that you're in, you can find these websites as well, but I put them together for you. These are open to anybody. You can write an essay for one page and get $1,000 scholarship. So find your opportunities. These are great websites, and definitely gives you that opportunity to be selective. Also, depending on your degree that you want to accomplish or any program that you were involved in. These are very different and a broad scholarships that you can find. And lastly, financial aid and student loans. It's very important to apply no matter what to the FAFSA, do your financial aid application. And you can go to the studentaid.gov, I'm sorry, and this website will lead you towards filling out that application. And I've been in the website recently, and it's much more easier than it was back when I did it as well. Like everything, it's in there. Your eligibility for grants is given to you there, as well as the federal loans that you're going to be able to get if you need additional funding. It's essential to definitely be as soon as your parents do their taxes at the beginning of the year, to start that process of financial aid. The earlier you start, the more funding you're probably able to get by doing this. And the tax returns are even accessible through the website. They pull them from your parents. If your child is doing the application and they have to use their parents' information, it's easily now to just do it from the website itself and IRS authorization for them to be okay to pull your tax return from there. And also something new that I found on there, that they have checklists. Those checklists are really important because they're set up by grade, even from middle school. And once in your high school, there's checklists that you can follow and then can help you prepare for each year as your child is getting ready or closer to graduation year. A couple of other programs that I've found about is the CARES Act and the CRRSA Act. These are government funded programs, and just by doing your FAFSA, it also gives you that opportunity to get that funding. That just because maybe you might think your parents might make too much money, but this is just for every student that completed the application and wanted to see what they were eligible for. Right now, because of the COVID crisis, these CARE and this other act is also helping some students at least to pay for a laptop or pay for a book. So these grants is money that you don't have to pay back. So as essentially just apply and make that a priority as soon as your parents file their income tax. It'll help you in the long run. And here I'll hand it back to Aaron and to wrap up our session. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanette. So, you know, for those of you who are joining us live tonight, I would really encourage you to go back and catch the recording and replays of this. I really want to thank you, Jeanette, on those resources. I think that those are really key. I've got a couple kids that are approaching college age sooner than I'd like to admit. And, you know, those are going to be some really good guidelines and resources for me, because quite honestly, when I did the FAFSA, mine was on paper. You know, none of this was available online. So there's great resources out there now. It's really changed things. And so I think that, I think that's really key and great information and resources that you've provided on that. So thank you.
I want to add one little thing before
Sure.
I forgot. A lot of big corporations are also trying to get more kids involved, or, you know, help students fund their education. Big corporations like McDonald's, Walmart, Target, Starbucks, Chipotle are big companies that are willing to pay their employees while they work for them, help them fund their college education, and kind of stop that over endowed of student loans that a student might have to take just because, you know, they can't afford it.
That's a great thought. I'm glad you thought to mention that. I'm guessing they could probably look online at different various company websites to find what companies are offering that.
Definitely, yes. Do your research. It's simple. Just even ask at your local Target or whichever store that I just named, and they should be able to at least give you some guidance on these type of programs that are coming out now, and especially is important to our future generation not to be so much in student debt. If this can help, I mean, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. That's really valuable information. Thank you, Jeanette. I appreciate you mentioning that. As we wrap up, guys, we're going to make some time in just a moment to open it up to Q&A. But before we do that, just want to do a quick reminder that you do have access to FinPath. We want to encourage you to activate your account by going to finpathwellness.com to register. You're just one kind of a pro tip that we've got for you is to use your work email to get started, because often that's what we're going to have in our system through your district. So just know that that really is the most tried and true proven way to get this done quickly so you can get access. But if you do run into any issues, you can also contact us at finpath@tcgservices.com, and we can get you the help you need getting you access to FinPath so that you've got that as a resource to you. Like I mentioned earlier, we are here to help and to meet with you one-on-one. We understand everybody's situation is different. So, you know, you're never going to get a bill for talking one-on-one with us and getting some coaching there. So take advantage of that, please. And you can actually do that through the FinPath website or through finpathwellness.com/telewealth, or you can use the QR codes that we shared with you at the beginning of this that will connect you directly to either mine or Jeanette's calendars, so you can find a time that works for you. Also, if you want to reach us the old traditional ways, you can do that as well. And then for those of you who might be lawyers, we've got some disclosures. And now let's kick it open to Q&A. So for those of you who have questions, we're going to hang around for a few minutes. Jeanette and I both will remain available. If you want to just hover over the control panel within the Zoom platform, if you just click on the Q&A button, we will kind of take questions from there. And for anybody jumping off now, I just would like to go ahead and thank you for your time and for joining us tonight. I hope this was valuable information. All right, let's see. Okay, so we've got a question that from Ann that's asking if TCG offers a 529 plan. So good question. It's one of those deals that we don't directly offer a 529 plan. That said, our advisors have some pretty extensive relationships that offer a full suite of financial planning services. So through those relationships, yes, you can work with the TCG advisor to start a 529 plan. It just wouldn't directly be through us, but good question. Kelly, it looks like we got a comment from Kelly asking if she's going to miss attendance for getting kicked off for a second. And no, don't worry about that. We have you on here. So thanks for checking. Looks like that's all when it comes to questions. Any last second questions, I'll hang out for a few seconds more. And otherwise, if we don't have anything pop in at the last minute, we'll go ahead and say goodnight. And again, thank you all so much for coming. If you do have remaining questions, please don't be shy about scheduling time to meet with a coach and reaching out so that we can talk about it more one-on-one. But again, thanks for joining us tonight and hope you have a great rest of your night.